Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pueblo's independent multimedia podcast. My name is Sareth Ney. It's a long name, but I really need an acronym. So without further ado, give it up for Mike Trejo from Hell Circus. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Great. How are you, dude?
Pretty good. Just running around today, doing the normal stuff, picking up, doing chores and what have you. Since yesterday my wife's band had a show, and so I was out at the show and didn't get much done.
Oh,
Typical.
indeed. Shout out to Raquel. She rocks.
Yeah,
So,
she plays in a band. Her and Kevin, who are both in Hell Circus, they have another band called Dark and Sun, and they had a show yesterday and stuff like that. So it's kind of Kevin plays bass in Hell Circus, but does lead guitar in Dark and Sun, and Raquel does backup vocals in Hell Circus, but lead vocals in Dark and Sun. So
dang.
it's fun.
I got musical chairs and musical instruments.
Yeah,
Like
it's kind of that
musicals.
way. We recently did a show down in Raton, and Darkins, our drummer Chris Jameson, he broke down in Walsenburg on the way, and Dark and Son's drummer had to fill in last second, and he kind of knew some of the songs from hearing him, playing shows with us. And he's a really good drummer. His name Ken. He ended up bailing us out and filled in and stuff. So it's kind of nice to be able to pull musical chairs now and then and not end up embarrassed that you have to go home without playing. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Especially when you
Indeed.
drive all the way to Raton and don't seal the deal.
How far is Raton from Pueblo?
I actually live up in Fountain now. I've been up here for a few years. I still work in Pueblo. I'm in Pueblo probably minimum 4 days a week, sometimes 5. My mom and stuff's down there, and she's been ill for quite a while, and so I'm kind of a little bit in charge of taking care of her on some of the stuff, and but like I still work my day jobs down there, and but from here in Fountain, I believe it was like an hour and 20 minutes or so. Not super
Okay.
long, maybe a little longer than that, but it's not that long of a drive, and as long as everybody's having a good time talking and everything, the drive goes by quick. It's when everybody just sits there quiet that the drive gets boring. You know what I mean? So, but other than
For
that,
sure.
it's actually not that far. I mean, it's just, and it's all highway, and there's not that much traffic on it. So it's not like going up north to Denver and then what's supposed to be an hour to get there or so, ends up being an hour 45, 2 hours because of traffic jams. So typically there's not a traffic jam on the way down to Trinidad or Raton, so it's we just went down there. Anthony Martinez from Cryptic Rising hooked us up with that, so that was cool.
Dang. That's
Excuse
awesome. Indeed. Vouching for
me.
others is fantastic. Makes the world go round.
Yeah,
For sure. Indeed.
yeah,
So,
it's good.
Mike,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's good for bands to network together, and you know that from, like, say, all the stuff you've been doing. You've always kept in touch with bands and different things, and you've been doing the festival for quite a while now. And even when you moved away, you keep it alive, you keep it going, which is really commendable. You know what I mean? And
Thank you.
a lot of people don't realize how much work it takes sometimes to put together an event or to do shows and stuff. So if you've ever actually put together events, you kind of know and can appreciate what you're doing. And that's where, like, networking with other guys, like Anthony puts together his own little festival too, usually in September and stuff like that. But he's a good guy too, and he helps hook up. I asked him, hey, we want to go down and play and stuff, and he hooked us up. So it kind of like I say, it's that thing of bands networking together. I wish there was more of that. I'm an old guy, I'm really old. So back in the old days, we networked more. If a band got a show for us, or asked us to be on a show, we always tried to make sure we did the same thing, back and forth, vice versa, kind of thing. And so when we'd have a show and ask a band to be on it, it was kind of normal, like say, to have them turn around and offer you a show back, and we network together and stuff like that. Nowadays, bands just aren't. They don't do it that often. It's pretty disappointing on that end sometimes, because I sit there and think, man, we used to do this. We used to kind of work together, and now it's like, eh. Well, I get hit up all the time for people want to jump on a show I'm doing, but then I never hear any, never, hey man, you want to do this one? Kind of bums me out sometimes, but it's all good. It's all good. We just do it for fun, so can't get too worked up about anything. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yep. It's nothing like the good old days. And that's why I like Mike from Scrotus. I was like, he's like old school too. And so like he's like my go-to guy whenever I need to post flyers of the fest around town. He's
Oh,
like,
cool,
I'm on
cool.
it. And I'm like, what do you want for it? He's like, a shirt with the band's name on it. And I'm like, sure, that works for me. So he's like my right hand man sometimes. And that's what's like,
Awesome.
I miss the good old days like when we firebombed like the parking lot of like the mall with their flyers, and they don't
Yeah,
do that
yeah.
anymore. Old school
Oh yeah.
marketing is like it still works and people don't do it.
Yeah, I like say back in the old days, I actually got called a few times to and told that to stop doing it, to because I was putting so many flyers around town that and like I say, there was times I put flyers like the old Cavalcade used to have a Thursday night rock night. That's the only night of the week they did rock, but they did like top 40 bands. But you know, I had a show somewhere else in town. I knew that there would be a lot of people there on Thursday, so I'd go put flyers there, and then they called me and told me they, cool it. Don't be doing that shit no more. And they also, I got threatened with littering and stuff like that because I had flyers all over sign poles around town, and they told me they were going to charge me with littering if I
Oh
kept doing it.
yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I did it a little too much.
Indeed. Well, like I go into like individual shops, and then I
Yeah.
ask them, and
Oh,
like and then I buy something from them, so that way
yeah.
it's like,
It's that networking thing again. Back to supporting each other,
mhm.
and that goes like I said, back in the old days, if I could get like a loaf and jug or some convenience store to put one on their door in the window, that was way better than putting it on 100 telephone poles. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Because there's so much traffic and people actually, walk into that door and might stop and actually look and read it, or put it at like Little Caesars way back when. There was a couple Little Caesars places that would hook me up, and I was a regular customer, as you can tell. And so like they would hook me up and stuff like that, and that kind of went away. That's gone now. I mean, they tend not to do that, and stuff. So you end up relying on social media, which is good. It's great. It's just not the same. And
It's not
but on that same note, since you can do it right from home, you don't really have an excuse not to do it. You know what I mean? You
right.
know. So anyway, enough of my
Indeed.
rambling.
Oh man, and like getting on the radio and promoting it too helps out big time because like
Hmm.
I remember when I like managed like the Widowhood Effect and they opened like a Matt from the Black Sheep. He
Hmm.
reached out to me when we were on tour and he was like, "Hey, can they open up for Everlast and Big B coming up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I asked the guys when we were going to North Hollywood and on our way back, they're like, "Yeah, absolutely." And then I said, "All right, let me hit up Sid Black from 94.3 Kilo and have them promote the show." And they played live on air and everything.
Oh,
And some
nice. Yeah.
people tuned in. I was like, "That's so rad!"
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's
get on the radio too. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, every little bit helps, and some things help even more than others. But it's an accomplishment when you're able to get to get an event together, or to get bands on the radio, to any of these things are they take work, and so when they don't always happen. So when they come together and you actually get a band on the radio, or you get your band on the radio, it's cool. You know what I mean? It's special in that end, that it's like, okay, we're not normally on the radio. We get on there, they talk about it, play some songs, something. That's always great. You reach more people that way.
oh, big time,
Mm-hmm.
indeed. Yep. When I was doing stand up, I was on the like a talk radio station
Mm-hmm.
there, and like I didn't expect my voice to reach out so many people, and we were only expecting 70 people in like the 300 seat like theater, and like we started like a half hour late because like
Mhm.
there was like 280 people total showed up because of the radio interview. I was like,
Uh-huh.
good lord, that actually worked.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man.
Oh man! And then I got paid $100 to do 10 minutes, so I was like, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a good wage, man. I could live on that.
Heck yeah! If
But
only you
I'd probably work 10 minutes a year and I'd die, you know.
yep. But those gigs are far in between though. I haven't
Right,
gotten paid for
exactly.
$100 for 10 minutes in a long time. So
Yeah, yeah.
awesome, Mike. So you're from Helltown, USA, Colorado Springs, and so what do you like about Colorado Springs and Fountain and Pueblo in the Southern Colorado region?
Yeah, like I say, I'm Southern Colorado guy. You know, I was born in Pueblo, raised in Boone, little town about 25 miles east of Pueblo. You know, population damn near zero. You know, like maybe 200-300 people, and like I know in my class in school there was one year where there was like all of like four boys and 11 girls. You know, that was my whole class. You know what I mean? And so from there though, like I moved into Pueblo and I lived in Pueblo for 20 plus years, you know, stuff like that. Hell, probably more than that. But I moved up here to Fountain about you know, going on 4 years ago. Time's flying. I mean, that's probably getting old. Time flies, man. It goes by quick. Um, it's a great area actually. There's a lot of talented bands. I mean, that's the thing. There's a lot of great musicians, talented bands, and stuff like that. And you always want the scene to grow and have venues and places that are cool to play and stuff like that. I I, uh, I think like say there's a lot of people like me that I see around still that have been hang. There's a jet flying by, so I don't know if you can hear that, but anyway, um, yeah, the airport they fly right over my house. The Thunderbirds went by yesterday. That was loud. Or a couple days
Wow.
ago when president was up at the Air Force Academy. Anyway, um, like I say, there's a lot of good people here. There's a variety of bands, different stuff. I don't like doing shows necessarily, or that where everybody sounds the same. I do like it when there's a little bit of variety to the sound. I mean, I know a lot of bands like to have a bill that's like set up to where it's all the same genre. But a lot of people don't listen to just one thing. So I kind of prefer and like it when get to play with a band that's not like us, because I do want the show to be memorable. I don't want it to be like where all the bands looked or sounded similar to where it's just a blur and nobody really remembers anybody. It's good to have that variety. Like say, obviously you don't want to have it like too extreme to where it's like, okay, this don't work together at all. But overall, like I say, good people around here to play with and stuff like that. You know, there's always been, that's one thing when we're doing a lot more touring. Not touring this year, and we're going to Wyoming and New Mexico kind of stuff, but not doing any big touring. And in the past touring, that was one of the things that you go anywhere you went, man, there's so many talented musicians. There's so many people that are so good. You sit there and go, wow, man, this guy just like plays circles around me. There's so many people who play circles around me. It's not even funny. And then there's so many people that can sing way better than me. But yeah, but I have fun doing what I do, and that's the main reason I do it. And hopefully, enough people enjoy what I do that I can have an audience to play to, and enough audience that I can keep getting booked back and stuff like that. So, but that's kind of the main goal, is make enough people happy that you can keep gigging.
Oh yeah, indeed. And that's why like the mixed genre stuff is like why I got designed the fest the way that I did, because like I asked everyone like what's your time slot you prefer, and then everyone picked their different time slots and days, because people have schedules like family and school and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I release the schedule, it's like there's hip hop and there's metal and then there's like singer songwriter after that. It's like a up and down, like a roller coaster kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Quite
Yeah,
enjoyable though.
yeah. Like I say, it's kind of like in music, you want to have dynamics. in the song. You know, if it's all flatline, be it way up here or way down here, it kind of, like I say, it's back to that same thing of everything sounding the same. You want dynamics and stuff, and that goes with the entertainment like that. Like I say, the variety keeps it interesting and keeps it memorable and stuff like that. You know, yeah, I like I say, I kind of like shows where, like I say, there's that variety. Yeah, personally.
Same here. Like I'll like listen to like hip hop through like the like when I drive through town, but then when
Mhm.
I hit the highway, I'm listening to like Adele or Jason Mraz or something acoustic like.
Mhm.
It's softer because like it calms my nerves when there's like people going like 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, I was
You know,
gonna
it's
say, I was when I was younger, I noticed that way back. I'd be going down the driving from Boone to the college, you know, USC, now CSU Pueblo or whatever. I'd be going to school, and the drive back and forth every day, I'd put on music and like I'd catch myself like say driving like 85 miles an hour or so down the high. And that's back when the speed limit was like 55. We're talking like I was way over the speed limit. And I'm like, and it would just be like I'd be listening to like Screaming for Vengeance or something from Judas Priest. Next thing you know, I'm driving down the road. Calming your nerves is probably the smarter move because I was probably that asshole that was driving past you too fast. Anyway,
oh man,
I try not to now. I try not to now.
awesome. Oh, Judas Priest. Like I am, somehow incorporated Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and the Beatles in my stand-up set, like
Uh huh.
one after the other. And so, if you want to check it out, it'll probably make you laugh. So,
Awesome. I can't imagine that. The Beatles, Judas Priest, and Iron Maiden.
oh yeah, it's
Nice.
like one of the most requested jokes I have, and it's like a 2.5 minute joke,
Oh,
but there's
cool.
like layers to it, and people are
Uh
just they just love it. They just request it everywhere I go. Like it's
huh.
it's it's marvelous. So
That's awesome, man.
indeed, it's like a song. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'll send it to you. You're like, I can't believe you said this on stage. You're bad. Indeed. I
Oh, man.
I love being dirty. It's so
Yeah,
fun.
you know what I noticed? Most comedians have like guys that you would think never had like I guess like Bob Saget back when he was alive and shit like it. I guess he had a real dirty show.
Yeah.
he he had the clean version and he was like that America's Funniest Home Videos guy, like and like dad kind of guy from his TV show or whatever. And then there's Bob Saget, the dirty comedian. I guess his show was pretty over the top on some of that. At least people didn't expect that coming out of him and stuff like that. It's probably I think every comedian probably has the PG-13 version of their show or the PG version, and then they got the R to X version of the show.
And I try so hard to write clean, but then it never just I just
Yeah,
can't. It's
it's kind of like trying to not put F bombs in your songs.
indeed,
You pretty soon you find out you're just dropping them everywhere. Boom.
indeed. Good stuff, Mike. And so Hell Circus is like it gave birth to 7 Days Lost, and so
Yeah.
what are some of your favorite stories from the 7 Days Lost?
Oh, 7 Days Lost. We've done some really cool stuff. I mean, uh, geez, I mean, it was just one of them things where it came out of Hell Circus and we kept it going. We gave it its own name. Originally they wanted to call it Hell Circus, and I was like, nah, because Hell Circus was my side project, my own thing from when I was in a band called Wicked Ways, and I was like, no, this is my thing, and when 7 Days Lost ever breaks up or falls apart, I'm gonna keep playing Hell Circus, and so let's not name it Hell Circus. They kind of all looked at me like, what? And they're like, yeah, it's true. All bands eventually come to an end, and as long as I'm able to, I'm going to keep doing Hell Circus. But 7 Days Lost, hell, we went out and started touring and doing some of the things that, like say, I was always trying to get the guys in Wicked Ways to do, and they just never bought into it, um, you know. but we went out and toured. We played at the Whiskey a Go Go. Shit, I think we played there like six or seven times, and we actually headlined the Whiskey a Go Go one time, and we were opening up for Jakey Lee in Colorado Springs. Used to be with Ozzy, the guitar player for Ozzy, and he has the Jakey Lee's what is it called, Red Dragon Cartel or something like that. Cartel. Anyway, he was like, we were saying, yeah, it's just a Thursday. We're gonna be playing on it, kind of. We thinking, yeah, we're not. And he's like, dude, that's don't knock it. That's pretty big. He goes, because when Jakey Lee, before he was in Ozzy, he was also in Rat for a while. And I guess when Rat first opened for or headlined at the Whiskey, it was a big thing. And to him, it was like, don't knock it, guys. That's a big thing. And it's good to hear from somebody who's like a legend tell you that, hey, man, that's pretty cool, guys. Don't knock it. So yeah, we headlined Whiskey a Go Go. We opened up for quite a few bands over the years, like and we like say the biggest one we opened for, of course, was Korn, and I set that up. Geez, that was pure luck, and it was really pure luck. It was Korn was coming from Europe tour, and the State Fair hadn't set up a rock act. They usually have one rock act, for the State Fair, and when they announced it, the other dates had already been listed for months. And they had that open date, and then okay, Korn's coming. Great, cool. I'm surprised, Korn actually playing, Colorado State Fair in Pueblo. And, it was just, but I noticed they didn't have any opening acts with them. So, I lucky, and got lucky and turned around and, we end up getting the gig just a week, like maybe 10 days before the actual show. They said, yeah, you guys are on the show, but we couldn't say nothing. It was like one of those things, you can't say nothing about this until we give you permission to. And I was like, oh, all right. So we couldn't promote we were even playing there, but it was cool. But, until like a few days before, and then you're telling people, yeah, we're going to open for Korn. They're like, yeah, right. Sure you are. But we did. So it was cool. And that same year we opened for Korn. We also got we got the song Living Dead on True Hollywood Stories. It was part of the music for, what's her name? I can't remember her name, but they're doing a recap of Where Are They Now thing on some people. And Daisy, the Daisy's Rock of Love and all that other. Anyway, they did a thing on her, and through my TV show Access Unlimited, I'd actually randomly filmed her up at a Poison show years before she became famous, and they wanted to use my video and stuff like that, and I used that as leverage to like, hey, how about putting a song on? And they were actually they really dug it. The guy that was one of the producers on it, he wanted to use two songs. He wanted to use Whiskey and Gasoline and Living Dead. In the end, they just used Living Dead and stuff like that. But I mean, that's cool. I mean, to get a song on national TV, and it played for like cable is it like they'd aired that episode 2-3 times a week, and they did it all through the holidays, like through the middle of November to probably the middle of January. So all through December for sure, it was run like 3 times a day, kind of thing. And it's one of them things that's kind of like, wow, you flip it on and watch it and go, that's our fucking song. I'm sorry. Can I cuss on here? I'm sorry, man.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so it was like, that was cool. And from there, like say, everything's kind of a building block. We got the Korn show partly from having a resume of touring and doing stuff. And we had the first CD EP we put out through Brian Knopf up in Denver recorded for us, and it was titled "Good Day to Die," and I was able to get us hooked up with oh hell, let me see, I don't find this thing. Shit. God, I'm trying to think of the hell it was. We got national distribution, which was really cool. But CDs have gone away. You know what I mean? They pretty much have gone away. There's souvenirs that you sell at live shows now. Not too many people buy CDs. The record stores, the department stores, they're all fading away. Look at independent records. There's like one independent record left. And the Dave, Pueblo Records and Tapes, great guy. I love Dave. Dave was always a supporter of my TV show and my band. We actually did an in-store there one time when we came off a tour. We didn't know that we were being distributed nationally at that point. And when we got back to go do the in-store at Dave's store, we set up a stage outside in the parking lot. We're going to play, and Dave was all excited. He's like, he goes, "Hey, you guys, you're nationally released." He goes, "It's on the info they put on the board, And he goes, "You guys are your CD drops on Tuesday. I guess Tuesday like a normal day for CDs and stuff like that to drop through the record industry thing into like release dates and stuff. At least it was then, and we didn't know. We were like, "Oh, okay." I thought we were just getting some so-so distribution, and actually, the guy that hooked us up good, and we ended up with national distribution. He sent me an email one time and said that the guy that was working with our CD, or that picked up part of the distribution end of the thing, I don't know how it all works, but the guy was an older guy that did some of the Elvis stuff and things like that. So you're going, wow, okay. He goes, just like FYI, just kind of like a little bit of like trivia thing. This guy worked with Elvis and these guys and this, that, and the other that's distributing it. So it was kind of cool to go like on to go into stores and see your CD here and there at some stores. Some stores carried it. Mostly it was on the online thing, because like Target, actually, where I work at the warehouse, and Target actually was carrying our CD on the online order. And when we were out in California playing at the Whiskey, we stopped in Amoeba Music, and we went in there, and there's our damn CD. And it was like, this is unreal. This is cool. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. We got to play. Everything's a building block, and from there we were able to take that, and it took a while, but like after we did Korn, like it was not the following year, but the year after, 2 years later, we went and did Rock Fest in Wisconsin, and we played 3 shows in one night there. One 45-minute show, 1 hour and 15-minute show, and then an hour and a half hour 45-minute show. My voice was kind of crap by the end of the night, and then we drove back, and I had to go do the vocals for the next CD the day after we got back.
Oh man.
No, it worked out fine, but I was like, yeah, you're a little like, okay, my throat's a little done, singing basically over, 3 hours or so of shows that night. And you don't want to hold back. And that's the thing, is I'm not going to hold back. So, we got a longer set and we got to play in another hour, and we're going to do, well, we were on a side stage to the main stage at this Rock Fest. It's like, you've been to Fiddler's Green, right?
Yep.
It's like Fiddler's Green in the middle of a cow field. It's like you're like in the middle of nowhere, and then all of a sudden you go over some hills, and then there's a sea of RVs, and all these people at the festival, and in the middle of this field, this like Fiddler's Green style, concert setup. They got cement that has some permanent seats in this one section, but for the most part, just a big grass field from the side of a hill. The stage is permanent, and then there's like a few permanent stages around that are like big pole barns. That's where the bars are, and they had big stages, fairly big stages in there. And then there was also some tents that were put up for other stages. There was like 5-6 stages during the middle of the day. There was usually 5-6 bands playing at one time, which kind of sucked, because you like, man, this band, I want to see this one, but there's the other one way over there, and how am I going to go see that? But in the evening when we played, they shut some of the smaller stages down, and what we ended up being is like they ran 2 of the big big stages. There was obviously not as big as the main stage, but we were the entertainment between the national acts. Like we played between Skillet and Marilyn Manson. We were in a roundabout way. We were the opening act for Marilyn Manson, but we weren't on the same stage. But Marilyn, they were doing full setups for their show, so they would take like a full hour to tear down the other band and set up all the props and all the things for the main band. But it was all connected. And it was kind of cool because the sound man at our deal would tell us, okay, you guys are on as soon as the main stage last song is over. So, and then he'd be on the thing, and they'd finish up, and say their good night, goodbye, whatever, and then he'd go, you're on, and we'd have to start. And then when they were ready to go at the main stage, like Marilyn Manson, when he got ready to go, they would notify our sound guy, and he would tell us one more song, and then we do, and the main stage wouldn't get to go until we were done with our song.
Oh, man.
So it's kind of weird. I mean, kind of cool to think that, should we play a long song here and make Marilyn Manson wait a little bit? But no, we just played our set. I mean, but it was really cool how they did that. And I mean, literally, we'd finish the last deal. Hey, we're 7 days lost. Good night. Boom. And the lights would go down on the main stage. It was like all boom, boom. And they would turn us down, and the intro music and everything would start at the main stage. It was cool. And so we played between them, like Skillet. We played between Skillet, Marilyn Manson. Then we played again between Marilyn Manson and Alice Cooper and Hollywood Vampires. And it was kind of cool that night because like Johnny Depp was playing with them, and there was so many freaking girls dressed up as pirates. It was like a pirate convention. Bunch of sexy pirates running around, all trying to meet Johnny Depp.
Wow.
We were invisible.
Indeed.
They didn't care about us. Johnny Depp here. So anyway, just cool stuff like that. There's so many things. I mean, I enjoy, just getting to play in front of people, and it doesn't matter the size of the venue, or even how nice the venue is in a lot of ways. It's like in the end, as a musician, I want an audience to play for. And so it's like I've played some places that were really like, wow, the toilets don't even work, but there's people here and it's fun. It's a fun time. You know what I mean? Other than if you have to go to the bathroom. But that was kind of on the last year's tour when we were in I want to say St. Louis, or no, Indianapolis. Indianapolis. And it was freaking cold. We were touring at the beginning of March, and it was really cold. It was, it was like 15 degrees outside, 20 degrees, whatever. It was really cold. And the venue was big, but the bathroom situation, everything, it was in a bad neighborhood. It was really bad. McDonald's across the street went to go get something to eat over there. They were talking about it was going to be the first night that they stayed open past 6 or 7 because they would close down every night because of all the issues they would have. But they had they hired an off-duty policeman to be in there. And we were talking to that guy. He goes, man, I'm not sure about this. And then sure enough, later, somebody overdosed in the bathroom over there and busted their face on the sink, and there was blood everywhere. Like, wow. The McDonald's, not to dog on McDonald's, the McDonald's was actually really clean and nice in there.
Wow.
But, I mean, and that's the thing. It's, but I remember over there, one of the things I remember there is that, but also, I need a shower. And we were just staying in the van. We weren't, so I mean, either taking a shower at a truck stop, or when we stayed at somebody's house that let us crash at their house. Other than that, man, it's like I'm a greasy guy. I need a shower pretty much every day. I got to at least wash my hair. I'm greasy. And so like taking a homemade shower out in the alley when it's like probably 20 degrees sucks. It sucks bad. pouring cold water. It's been sitting in the van, so it's cold as hell. And you're like, oh, jeez. Yeah, it wasn't good. The
No
show was
way.
fun. See, that's the thing. Is usually the show's fun. The other stuff is you tolerate it to do the show because we slept in the van the entire time, other than when we stayed at somebody's house. So sleeping in a chair or we'd sleep on a bench, but you don't even have room to really stretch out. You have all your stuff there, and it is what it is, and and you're just trying to do it as cheap as possible, and hopefully make a little money to pay off the bills, and that's about it. But it's fun. But at my age, I question I question my intelligence a lot of times, whether I'm using my brains or not. I'm too beat up and jacked up to be sleeping upright in a chair or crap like that, real regular, or sleeping on the floor. Um, like I say, I still ride. I love riding, and that's what I wanted to do more than even playing in a band is race professional motocross and stuff like that. And I used to race up through college and shit like that. But I have a lot of broken bones and injuries, and not too many broken bones from downhill mountain biking. I did that in my, you know, later on when I started having kids. I kind of like, this is more family oriented, so could take them to the mountains and go up to like Keystone or Breckenridge and race there, and we could camp and kind of make a family thing out of it, other than the fact I was racing. But yeah, I've kind of beat myself up. So I don't walk so good, Sareth. I need a roadie. I can't afford one.
Indeed.
Oh man, I
But
can't
like
walk.
the cool thing is, like a lot of them like volunteer to help you out, which is awesome. That I see
Yeah,
like people in the
sometimes a lot of
past.
times it's, and that's like I say, that's like the guys in Dark and Sun. When we do shows with them, like last night, I was just there to watch, but I tried to give them a hand with bringing in some of the drums or helping haul out some of the stuff, and they do it for me too when we play. Sometimes they show up just to watch us play, and some of the other guys in the band, and when they do, they're always willing to help out and appreciate that. And it's just like next week I have two Hell Circus shows. I play June 8th at Herman's with the band that's touring from Hollywood, Stonebreed. And I guess they got new owners at Herman's. The setup, they kind of remodeled it, so I haven't seen it yet. I know Herman's old stage was kind of a pain in the ass to get up on because of the stairway and stuff. It's pretty high stage, and kind of hard to navigate the stairs with all the other junk. But then the day after, Friday the 9th, we play at Fritzy's. We're playing with two bands that are touring out of Texas. And Fritzy's, if they don't have the elevator working, the freight elevator, oh, it's horrible. It's got so
Man,
many stairs. There's like a huge amount of stairs, and I can't get up and down the stairs. Just me by myself, hardly, let alone carrying a half stack down the stairs. You know what I mean? So
it's like the
everybody,
Red Raven.
what's that?
It's like the Red Raven with all those steps.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
I climbed them. I'm like, I don't know how they
Yeah,
had shows up there, but that's crazy.
yeah. There was a strip club that 7 Days Lost played at up in Denver that had a big stairway, and they paint everything black. All the walls are black, and you turn the lights out down low. That way, you don't see all the dirt, all the mess. And but you go up the stairs, and they went up, and then they curved, and then you had to go up a big. Oh man, that was horrible. That was a horrible set of stairs. Now, once you got up there, it was called the Inferno, or the room upstairs was the Inferno. That was a cool setup up there. Awesome sound system, awesome lights. But hard to have an audience there when the strippers are coming up and taking people and taking them downstairs where
Yeah.
the strip club was, because it's like, geez, there's not anybody here tonight. Oh, we got a few people. Oh, and then here comes the stripper stealing your audience. I can't compete, man.
For
you
sure.
know I mean, so it is what it is.
They put the ass in backstage pass.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think nobody wants a backstage pass from us. So yeah, they just boom, there they go. You know, I like, yeah, like here, hey guys, want to come downstairs? And I'm like, okay, I guess. Well, we got those people there. Oh shit, there they go. So anyway, but now that, like I say, over the years you play so many variety of places, it never seems like you're playing enough. You always want to be playing more and more shows. But when you sit back and think about it, a lot of times you go, man, we played a lot of places and a lot of different setups and stuff like that. We did, speaking of playing strip bars, Hell Circus played a bunch of shows over the last year and a half at Shotgun Willie's. And they have a patio bar there called the T Bar. And a guy named Jeremy Worm and Pat Surprise, uh, they they hooked us up on doing shows there. Pat's an old motocross guy too. He's still riding and stuff. And Chris Jameson, the drummer, he's an old motocross guy. He actually he quit about the time I was starting racing, and so they know each other from motocross and stuff like that. So he was wanting to get us up there, and they always treat us really good. And it's not the best setup for playing live, but it works. It's like kind of like when you used to play sometimes at Phil's Radiator, you know, but it was like a lot of times we'd playing outdoors, and but in the winter we played indoors, which really cramped it up. And the strip club itself, the door, people walk through there to get over to the T bar and the bar thing, you know, go hang out there. So the girls take their break. A lot of times they go out there to the T bar. Well, in the middle of playing, all of a sudden there's somebody. I about hit a girl last time we played there about a month or two ago. I about hit her straight in the chest with my headstock on my guitar. I went to turn her. I have this kind of tendency to spin. I don't spin so much anymore. Knees are hurting bad. But I went to turn and it's like I caught myself out of the corner of my eye. I just happened to see her, and it's like, man, I was like that close, like, oh, like, and yeah. So it's like I wish they just like, if they're gonna have to cut through the because there's not a stage when you're on the inside, and as you're just playing on the floor. So it like say not the best setup. You're not separated in that end. So when people had to cut through there, that's the way they had to go through. And it would always be helpful if somebody would just tap you on the shoulder and let you know that they need to go by, you know, or wait till the song's over. But I assume they're on break and they get only so much time on break, and they don't want to waste it waiting for the band to get done playing so they can go over to the bar or go hang out with somebody or whatever they're doing. They're working, you know, so, you know, and we are too, I guess, but we're getting paid. But I always look at it as we're doing for fun. You know what I mean? And if we get paid, bonus. If we don't, you know, whatever. You like to cover your gas,
Yeah,
since it's so damn high, you know. But other than that, I mean, those are always fun. I mean, they were always fun. And there was one night where hell, we made more money playing there one night than not the most money I've made playing at a single show, but we did between merch and pay for playing, and we had a tip jar, and hell, we almost got $200 in tips. And I mean, when do you get $200 in tips? I mean, you know, and I didn't even have to show nothing.
yeah. Unlike at the Inferno, where
I think they would have charged me if I would have whipped it out. It would have ran us off. But no, we like I say, we end up doing like $500-600 for, and you're going and playing your own music. You getting to go play an hour. We played like a little over almost an hour and a half of our own music. It was, you know, we played about everything we had, because since we were the only band, you have to play like a longer set. But they're willing to hear you play your own tunes for an hour and a half, and that's kind of cool, you know, because usually that's a cover band that gets to, you know, play that kind of thing or does stuff like that. So when you're getting to do your own stuff that people hadn't heard, and like I say, we actually sold couple $100 or $200 in merch that night, plus we got paid, and yeah, it was probably more closer to probably 650, $700 for an hour and a half of playing. Not as good as you. We didn't get paid as good as you. 10 minutes.
Indeed.
You're making big money for 10 minutes.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Oh,
I miss those days.
yeah.
I don't do stand up anymore, and so like with 7 days lost opening for Corn and being in between with at the Rock Fest in Wisconsin, Hell
Mhm.
Circus also opened for some big bands like
Oh yeah, yeah.
Avatar, Wednesday 13, Mushroom Head, Lynch Mob, John 5, Trap, Doyle, September
Oh,
Morning, and many
yeah, yeah,
more. And
yeah, yeah.
what are some of
We,
your favorite memories from those shows?
you know, like I say, the cool thing about Hell Circus too is also Hell Circus has always been the people that it's because it is my project, and it's not to be egotistical or anything like that. It's just like even in 7 Days Lost, I write almost everything musically, like in the way of the songs and everything else, and 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 so Hell Circus is like an outlet for me to keep writing and keep making more music, and like I say, everybody that comes into Hell Circus knows that it's not a band where you're getting I let everybody have like their say so on things, but it's my project, so I make the final call, and we're not going to work on like, so let's say Travis, our lead guitar player, current lead guitar player right now, if he was to come in and say, hey, I got this song, I'm going to tell him, well, that's great, I hope you you can do that in another band, and like everybody's welcome to be in whatever bands they want outside of Hell Circus. So it's not like I'm trying to control everybody, but this is my project. So when it comes to that, the nice thing is it's always been a family oriented thing for me. So I've always had, like, my son Tyler's played in Hell Circus 2-3 different times. He's like, he has his own bands and stuff like that, and being that I also live, up in Fountain, Colorado Springs area, it's not really convenient for him to come up here and practice. His schedule does not work with my schedule so much, and he was having to come up here, you know, after work, and then turn around work the next day, and drive up here, and gas got high, and then his own band started getting going again and stuff like that. So he's currently not playing with us, but he fills in if he needs to. But that's always my favorite thing, has been having like Raquel and Tyler, my family in the band, my wife being in the band. It's just one of those cool things. And like my son, when he was playing, it was always cool to look back and see my son on drums and stuff like that. And it's just fun. And like Kevin's been in Hell Circus a long time, but he's like, say, none of the people are original. The only person from any of the original Hell Circus is me. I mean, that's because it's my, like, say, my thing. So people change and people come and go, and they do their own things. Like Dark and Sun is like, Kevin and Raquel playing that too. They played in, Kevin was playing in F and Wild when F and Wild was around before Scott passed away. And, so yeah, I mean, it was, like, say, it's nice to have your friends and family partake in what you're doing. And I like what we come up with. And that's where when we write music, or when I write music, like I got like 2-3 new songs. I told the guys just yesterday, it's like, hey, we got to get ready for the shows we're doing this week. But, I want to start working on a couple, or at least one of the new songs that's been sitting for weeks and weeks, months, waiting to get worked on. So I want to get started on a new one, and we're right now beginning the process of recording. Actually, Tyler is involved in that too. We're recording a new CD, no title yet, and that's what I like about Hell Circus, is that there's the creativity. We put out like 3, do-it-yourself videos, varying quality, but they're always fun to make. And but we put out like 3 videos for the last CD, and that's things I like. I get
in some ways I get more stuff done in this band because there's not like, oh, okay, it's up to me to get some things done. And so it just tends to work better that way, at least for getting some of that. So we put out a full length, like 11, 12 song CD, the last CD. This one, we're not going to do quite as many songs. We're going to do like 10. There's going to be 10 songs, I believe, on the next CD. But the songs for the next CD after that have already begun to be put together. And then I also always pull out some old songs that were recorded from way back that just weren't recorded as good. And I just want to re-record them better. You know what I mean? Just so that something I can be happy with in the way of like, okay, it sounds good. Where beforehand you go, okay, it's a recording, but it's a demo. It's something that doesn't sound that great, And so it's fun to do that with Hell Circus. We like say, and when it comes to opening for bands, we've gotten lucky, and I always consider it lucky when we get to do some opening spots. We're doing we're going to be playing like say with Stonebreed this Thursday, and then a couple bands from Texas on the next day. And then in July, we're doing with Crash Karma. We're going to be opening for them at Sunshine Studios. And I've actually played with them several times. And actually, Joe and I from 7 Days Lost, we hung out with them out there at NAMM. We went out to NAMM one year, and the after hours party by Anaheim Stadium. I can't remember what the bar name was. There was a bunch of like Black Label Society was playing over there and doing different things. We went over there and we hung out with them, and they remember us. And she gave she really the girl that plays the drums and stuff, she really thought it was super cool when Tyler was playing drums with us on the show that we opened for him on that. She thought that was really cool. But yeah, it's I think that's the most rewarding thing about doing Hell Circus, of being able to be creative on all aspects, visual and audio, and like I say, I let the other people pull in, their ideas. I throw ideas in. What do you think of this? Would this sound better? Or that sound better? So they have input, and they can come up with ideas. But in the end, like I say, it's the majority or the song is written by myself, and then as a band, of course, I can't play drums and I can't play bass at the same time I'm playing guitar. I'm not a one-man band, so you got to have people, and without the guys that play in the band, there wouldn't be Hell Circus. At least a Hell Circus that goes out and plays. And then you got to have people that are willing to do dumb ideas that I come up with. Hey, let's dress up, and why don't you dress up like freaking Leatherface? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like one of the things, like, the guys. Everybody's usually in the old days, it was hard to get people to do any kind of makeup or any kind of costuming, and that's kind of changed a little bit over the years. A little bit more open to it. I remember when 7 Days Lost was playing locally the first time out. We got a lot of weird looks, and a lot of they had a lot of bands that didn't like us because we were doing that. I don't know why they didn't. They acted like they were offended that we were showing up in costume. Don't ask me, but we were like the only band in Colorado there for a while that was doing that. And after a while, there was other bands, and there was always bands like Slipknot and Mushroom Head, and and you name it, Wednesday 13 Kiss, different bands that Alice Cooper and stuff, that always had makeup or had something in the way of a show. Rob Zombie, things like that. And I mean, that's kind of shows I like. And that was one of the things too. And we opened for Mushroom Head in Hell Circus, and that was really cool because they were one of the best bands live I had ever seen. The first time I saw them, I was so impressed with their show. I saw them at the Black Sheep, and it's such a big band, and they were so together, and it was spontaneous, but yet it was like these guys are in sync together. It's like magic choreography. They read each other's mind of what, and just cool visual effects. cool look. They sounded great that night, and they just, I remember thinking, God, this is the best live show I've ever seen, you know. And I've gone and seen a ton of bands. I've seen, you know, like Kiss, always a huge show. And there was a guy walking out in the parking lot, had a Kiss shirt on. He was a big Kiss fan, and I heard him mumbling to his friends, "Damn, that was the best show I've ever seen." So I knew it wasn't just me going, "Wow," you know, because for being in the Black Sheep, it was an amazing show, and they made a big impression on that, and so it was really cool to be able to go and open for them and stuff like that in Hell Circus, and it's cool. We like say John 5 and things like that. Just, you know, and 7 Days Lost did a ton of shows too. So, you know, I've been fortunate to play. I have a list somewhere on my computer of everybody that I've opened for that is a touring act, national touring act, and it's a huge list. I mean, because like say the kind of music I write, the cool thing about it is we've been in some reviews, they kind of listed us as like punk. And I don't think of myself as a punk band, but but apparently there's a little bit of punk to it, I guess. I don't know how to describe that, but horror punk or whatever, I guess, because Wednesday 13 is even called like horror punk in some cases. But but like I say, we've played with such a variety of bands over the years, like, you know, like Texas Hippie Coalition and Blackfoot and things like that. They're like, you know, kind of almost country rock in a way, hard country rock, but or Southern rock, you know, on that. And then we've played, like say, with bands that were, you know, that were like completely different, you know, Powerman 5000. You know, we played with the Misfits. We opened for the Misfits at the Summit Music Hall. And we played with Agent Orange and you know, some punk band type things, and Doyle and Michael Graves and stuff like that. We've done shows with all those guys. And so, you know, all I know is, you know, whatever it is, whatever comes out, comes out. I'm not trying to fit into a niche. I don't, you know, it's kind of like Motorhead here. Lemmy would always go, we're Motorhead. We play rock and roll. And he would just, you know, they would start, you know, and that's kind of the thing with, you know, they'd say, because they listed them as kind of like the godfathers of thrash, the godfathers of speed metal, whatever. They come up with all these things. Saxon was the same way, where they were a little bit harder at the time than some of the bands that were out, and they kind of called them like godfathers of this, godfathers of that. And in the end, they were just doing what they do, and that's what I do. It's just whatever comes out, comes out. I have songs that I've written that have a whole different vibe than other songs, which is good. I don't want them all to sound the same. There's always going to be a tendency for the songs to sound a little bit the same, because my style of guitar playing or whatever is going to be in every song. And it's also my voice. I don't have a huge dynamic range on my vocals, and my voice is my voice. It's so you know, when you hear that same voice on one song to another song, they're going to sound somewhat similar. I mean, you know, so, but hopefully not so much that you go, it's all the same shit. You know what I mean? You don't want it to be all the same shit.
Indeed. And
Sorry.
Motorhead being, you know, playing rock and roll, and you mentioning Leatherface earlier, and you know, Hell's Angels is a mix of both rock and roll and B horror movies. So what's your favorite B-rated horror movie?
Oh man, the Evil Dead stuff. I've always been a fan of like Evil Dead, you know. You know, that's just like, say, the first one was so bad it was good. You know what I mean? It was just that it was just bad. It was good. I remember there used to be a video store in Pueblo, 13th Street Video, and I rented that one time. You know, the Evil Dead, the first Evil Dead, and I'd actually seen it at the drive-in. You know where Lowe's is in Pueblo on Highway 50,
Yep.
or whatever? That used to be a drive-in, was there, and way back, you know. and that was probably one of the last movies I saw at the Pueblo Drive-In, or I think it was called Pueblo Drive-In there. And but I saw Evil Dead, and I was with my parents. That and uh, and uh, and they were, this movie's horrible. They kept going on how horrible the movie. And I was sitting there going, this is fucking cool. I thought it was cool. And so when it came out on video, I rented it. Well, like I say, I was living in Boone, and even when I was going to college, like I say, I lived with my parents. The only way I could afford to race was to be at home. The only way I could be at home and not pay rent was to be in school. My dad got laid off my beginning of my junior year in high school from the steel mill, and so they had no income to speak of. We were like below poverty line. So when I got done with high school, I got some financial aid and was able to go to college. Well, being able to go to college allowed me to live at home for free. And that made it where I could, at least on my shitty job, I worked at a gas station out there in Boone. I could keep racing. And so that's why I went to college, was so I could race. But when I got done with college, that also cut me off insurance. They cut me off actually a little before I finished, and I went ahead and got my degree and stuff like that. Just, I went there and might as well do it. I wasn't a big fan of school in high school. I hated high school, but college wasn't so bad. Yeah, I went and got Evil Dead. I lived there with my parents, and they'd go, we're going in town, go grocery shopping. We're going to stop at the video store. You want any videos? Yeah, give me a horror movie. They kept messing up, and they kept getting Evil Dead over and over and over. And the people at the video store, after a while, do you want this? You want to buy this video? They're asking them. They go, you've rented it like 6-7 times. And they're like, nobody else rents it. And it's a cult classic now, but at the time I don't think it was quite so cult classic. But yeah, I'd watched the shit out of that thing. But yeah, so Evil Dead, and how I've seen them all. And the one that just recently came out, we went and, I had to go see that. First movie I've seen at the theater in, since before COVID, so been a few years since I've even been to the theater. And so what's the first movie I go see? An Evil Dead movie. One of the, it's like the 5th Evil Dead kind of thing or whatever at this point, but it's cool. And I like the old ones with Bruce Campbell and stuff like that, they're just, they combine a little bit of humor and, and everything else. So they're just fun. I always loved horror movies and stuff like that, but, I like, stuff that's also funny. And sometimes it's like a sick, dark humor, I guess, but it's cool. I'm not crazy, man. I swear.
Indeed. Me, I have my background in horror. So
oh yeah. Yeah.
indeed.
That's,
It makes you feel, it's like makes you feel like you're on an emotional roller coaster, because it makes you feel everything.
Yeah.
That you're supposed to feel as a human being. That's
why
I love horror.
Yeah, and that's really the good thing. A good horror movie, like say, plays on people's emotions and stuff like that. And I think, like say, when they get it, not just everything that just jumps out or makes a loud bang, and but those when they're timed good, but also too, you use humor and stuff like that to make it not only entertaining, but to set people up for the next scare, and sometimes that's like say they some people are really good at it, and on some movies, and they really like say, it's a whole mixture of things. Some are just stupid and funny and they're cool, but then there's some that are a little more thought to it, but yeah, horror movies are cool. That's my favorite. Like we watched movies the other night. Yeah, I'm with my wife, and I scroll through the other stuff because I know she doesn't necessarily want to watch horror movies all the time. But eventually I'm in the horror movie section and just going through them all. And she's like, we've seen that one. Like, oh, okay. I'm getting old. I don't remember what I've seen half the time. You know what I mean? It's sure. Like I'm 5 minutes into it. I go, hey, I've seen this.
Oh man, like my most favorite recent horror movie is like Terrifier 2. Like,
oh yeah. I
They went so like that bath and bleach scene. They just went overboard, and I'm like, how long is this gonna keep going on?
yeah, yeah. Like like you say, that's always cool to get a new one, a new
Yeah,
movie or character or something to like to go for a while, to be this era's, you know, like Jason, you know, or Freddy Krueger. You got to have, like, you know, back when they had the monster from the Black Lagoon, you know, you got the certain eras of monsters or demons and different things, you know, bad guys and stuff. So that's cool.
indeed. Yeah, and like with the cheese grater scene there, that Evil Dead Rising was just, or Evil Dead Rise was, golly, you guys.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
remember, like the first day it came out, I was like, I gotta go see this because they said in like a news article that they use like one of the most films that use the most blood, and I'm like, how are they gonna use the most blood? And then like they did like that homage to The Shining.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
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 okay.
yeah, yeah. I was sitting there when you were saying that. I was thinking, geez, because they used a lot of blood in the one they did prior to that, when that girl was with the chainsaw was cutting that other one down the whole center, and it was like an unreal amount of blood. I mean, it was like raining blood. It was just completely everywhere. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
It was like there's not that much blood in a human being. That's like you freaking gallons and gallons and gallons of blood. Anyway, yeah, that like that Shining type thing with the elevator and shit. That was, yeah, that's a lot of blood.
Yeah. And I was like hoping like Bruce Campbell would make like an appearance, but then he's the one that was like making the sound effect for like when she was eating the eye out of the dude's face. And so that
Yeah,
was him like biting into an apple. I was like, oh, that's his cameo.
yeah, gee. Oh man,
Yeah,
I
geez.
guess it counts.
Yep, I guess it counts. Yep, and I stayed till the very end because, like, in the remake or whatever, it's like groovy at the end. I was like, can you say groovy again or something in the end
Yeah,
of this one to connect it? I was like, oh well,
yeah,
the bite thing will work too, I guess.
I guess. I'd like to say that's that's funny, but yeah, you know, kind of like you know, oh, who was the comic book guy that was in all these superhero movies that was out, and he was guy did Spider-Man, and that the guy who's original creator.
Oh, Stan Lee.
Yeah, Stan Lee.
Yeah,
He would be in all these movies, even though he was old as dirt.
yeah,
He'd get out of a pickup truck or do something. He just, even if it was just for a second or two, like, say a word or whatever. But he was in them. And that's kind of what you'd at least hope Bruce Campbell or something would do. Like just be a background character that at least pops in for a second, or something, and or says something, interacts just a short little bit, just something in there. But
yeah.
an
That
apple. Okay.
indeed.
Okay.
I guess like I missed the whole Evil Dead versus Ash thing like on
Yeah. The
cable.
Army of
So
Darkness.
yep. So maybe
Yeah.
they probably explain that part or something. But it would, I guess. But
Yeah.
I'll watch the show. I'll watch it and see what happens.
Yeah.
But it's
It's
just wild. But yeah, usually like the musicians who sing and stuff, I have them sing on the air. But since you don't have your band with you, what's like your rig rundown? Like your the guitar you use, the microphone
oh.
you play, the microphone stand, and so forth.
Well, I use a cheap microphone stand because they get stolen sometimes at venues. So you start to go cheap on some things because you just know that, like, these are items I'll lose. But like with COVID, you start carrying around your own mic, and this is really just a knockoff mic. I'm not in the garage actually, so I can kind of grab some of this. But it's just a little knockoff mic. I actually got this from Hard Luck Kings, I used to be sponsored by him, and it's basically like a Shure, 58 knockoff, and it works good. It works fine, and they gave me that, so I can't complain on that. So I got a free mic out of that deal. But and I'm still using my Hard Luck Kings guitars as my somewhat as my primary guitars. Shit, they're in the cases over there. I have right now, I think I have about 12 or 14 guitars that I've piled. That's the thing. It seems like a lot, but that's over years and years. You just kind of like, and most of my guitars are cheap. I'm a pawn shop guy. I buy shit at the pawn shop and make it work. And if you can see back here, the PV head I have there, I picked that up at a pawn shop off Elizabeth in Pueblo. We were getting ready to go on tour, and the head on my the head went out in practice literally a couple days before we were supposed to leave for a 2-3 week tour. And I like, damn, I can't take this to the repair shop. They ain't gonna get shit done in that time, And so I went to a pawn shop and I haggled on it, and I bought the head for $200, tax everything. I said, you make $200, I'll go get cash. Okay. And and so I've been using that head now since I used it at Corn. It was even at Corn. So it was back. That's been since probably 20. That's probably, I've had that 10 years now.
Wow.
And yeah, so and the cabinet is sitting on I'm in the way. Let me try to see you get out of the way. That Jackson cab, that's very few of those around. And that's funny is I'll be playing with different bands, and every now and then one of the touring bands like, holy shit, is that real? Is that a Jackson cab? He goes, shit, I ain't seen one of them in 30 years. I'm like, yeah, And I've had that since the early 90s, so 30 years or so. But and that's the slanted cab, so I take it out, and that's the main one I use. But like I use that PV. It was kind of nice. It kind of worked out. The PV's got the red grill on it, and the Jackson cab's got the red speakers, so they kind of look like they belong together. So it worked out. That's just by luck. And other than that, when I do play with the full stack, I bought this Carvin bottom cab, and that thing's almost 30 years old too. I mean, it's in great shape, but I don't take it out that often because playing with the full cab's real pain in the butt. But it's kind of one of them things when you have the option. It actually, where the place it works best is when you play small venues that don't mic up the guitars and you're playing raw. It's obviously you have more, you're pushing more sound that way. So you tend to have a better sounding, guitar rig that way. Not that you're playing louder. It's just you're playing with, the difference between playing something really loud with one 12-inch speaker versus 8. It's going to have a better sound. I mean, it's going to be a fuller sound, and you're not going to have to drive the speakers hard and stuff like that. But other than that, I mean, guitar wise, here, hold on. Let's see.
Yeah. Shout out to CR23 Bomb Shelter for having us, and Cody. It's going to be awesome.
Jacksons that I play with, and like I say, it's I like it, but like the problem with this, it's got a tremolo on it, and I like using the tremolo. But the thing is with the tremolo, we use different tuning on a few songs, and in Hell Circus we play in D and drop C, and I got this set up in drop C. So with the tremolo on it and drop C, I can't go back to D without having to retune all the other strings, where your tuning is the same in drop C and D. When you go from D, only the thick wound string, the 6th string, I guess, that is the only one you're really changing the tuning on. You're taking it from D down to C, and but with the floating tremolo, you end up everything's slightly off. And if you keep it once you set that tremolo for the tuning, it's a little hard to go back and forth to the other and keep all the strings in tune. But it stays in tune great. I have my guitar I've been playing forever, and in 7 Days Lost, another Jackson Dinky, and it stays in tune great. That's the thing, is I tend to rely on guitars that I trust live. So playing live is more a matter of like, does it sound good, but also do I trust it to stay in tune? And because especially doing lead vocals, the bad part is like if our guitar player lead guitar player goes out of tune, all he has to do is let me know, and I'll talk on the mic, or I'll kill a little bit of time for him to get tuned back up. But nobody does that for me when I go out of tune and I'm on the mic and I can't talk and tune at the same time, and without it being like more a distraction than anything else. So I'm lucky enough that most of the time I'm able to play the entire show without having to retune guitars. Um, but I play usually have 2-3 guitars that I take, and the Hard Luck Kings, like Les Paul, it's called the Boss Man. It's like one of the original Boss Man guitars, and it has these brass knuckle inlays on it, which is kind of cool. They don't put them on them anymore, or they haven't, and so it's got the unique. All the inlays are in brass knuckles and stuff like that. It's a good sounding guitar. I really like it. And it stays in tune. And I have a Hard Luck Kings. Shit, what is it? Dang it! I got a Spider also, but I that one I have a little bit of trouble keeping it in tune. And the Spider, I've only played like one live show with it, because I just haven't got it to where it seems to stay in tune for me, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm obviously not doing something right, because I keep knocking it out of tune. So, but yeah, I kind of like say I don't have anything too expensive. My most expensive guitars is that other Jackson, and I have an old Charvel. Those cost or had a retail price of over $1,000+, but most of my stuff is I picked up at pawn shops or got a really good deal, or or something. And I'm kind of that guy that Joe always said, like in 7 Days Lost, he'd buy all kinds of super high dollar stuff, and he'd get mad when people at shows would come up to me and go, "Man, I really love your guitar tone. I really like the way your guitar sounds." Joe'd be upset. He'd get pissed off because he spends a lot of money trying to have a really good guitar tone, and he knows that I bought most everything for a couple $100. I don't use the most expensive cables. He goes and gets monster cables, and I use a cable that costs $15, $20 maybe, and he's using a cable that's $60-$80, and yeah, there's a difference on some of that, but for the most part, not on some of it. Not if I can tell there's a difference, then yeah, I'll opt for the thing that sounds better. But I don't know. I just like to say I'm not a shredder. I'm not a lead guitar player, and I'm self-taught. I don't have any. I didn't have any musical background. I picked up guitar playing. I always wanted to play. Actually, I wanted to play drums, but when I was a kid, parents didn't want any musical instruments in the house. They didn't want to hear the noise. They flat out said, I ain't gonna listen to that shit. So we didn't play any instruments until. But my folks always had this thing of saying, when you're 18, you can do this. When you're 18, you can do that. You can join the military, go across the world. I don't give a shit, kind of thing. So when I was 18. And racing bikes, I was paying for all the motorcycle racing myself, and it's expensive, and I was doing it on a low budget there again too, other than what help I could get from sponsors. I bought my first guitar with the money I put in a coin jar, and just saving for a guitar, but all my money was going to racing. So it took a long time to buy a guitar. And then when I bought it, I didn't get that. I didn't get any kind of support. I brought that sucker home, and my mom, me and my younger brother Nick, we went in his room, and we were messing with it. We didn't know anything. We didn't know how to tune it. We hadn't had any lesson, anything. And it's first day we got it. You know how it is. You grab a guitar first day you ever played one, it's not so good, right? And so. Yeah, let's hear you play. I don't know. Well, let's hear you. So I start making noise, and she goes, "Well, that was a waste of goddamn money." Slam the door. Like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't real supportive on any of the shit I was doing, but you know, and she kind of changed her tune now. I mean, over the years, but yeah, she was. I'm just being honest. I'm just telling the truth, not to dog on her, you know, but that's the truth. I mean, so I didn't get that. Like, say, we didn't get that support as I love it when you see young kids that are oh, they could play circles around me and they're freaking 8 years old. You know what I mean? That's amazing to me. And but I enjoy what I do, and that's the thing is like that's comes with like I never was really into learning a bunch of cover tunes. I played originally Wicked Ways started out as a cover band to so that we could get out and play, and but we were always slipping in an original song, and we kept doing that. We kept slipping in original songs. We made a point of not just slipping it in and kind of trying to sneak it past people and put it between two really popular songs so that we wouldn't lose the audience. No, we'd make a big deal about this is our song. We wrote it. This is it. Here we go. Boom, play it. And and that way, whatever crowd response we got, we hoped it's legit, not because, we're playing a popular song and that's already a hit. This is something nobody's ever heard before. So, like I say, I always enjoyed writing, coming up with my own music more so than trying to learn other songs or learn music. So, which is, I don't know, it's just the way I am. It's not, I can't say it's good or bad. It's just the way I am. So, in the end, I end up writing majority of the music for Wicked Ways and majority of music, almost all of it for 7 Days Lost. I mean, the last album, every song on there I wrote. So, I mean, and that's and obviously in Hell Circus, every song is a song that I've written. So it's nice to go out and play and have, people respond to your music and if they buy copies of it, great, and stuff like that. It's harder, like I say, nowadays with everything going streamed and digital and things like that, what you see in the way of plays off of Spotify or sales from online music sources, I sell enough stuff to pay the bills when it comes to the band stuff, in the way of keeping it out there and distributed and stuff like that. But I'm not retiring. I ain't got no money for retirement, and Target is going down the tubes right now. So my 401k looks horrible. I'm gonna be working forever.
Indeed.
Eventually, Tyler will be my boss. Yeah, I'll be working for him. He's still working at Walmart, so I'll be the door greeter, and he can tell me to come on, man, pick it up, Dad.
Indeed.
Anyway,
awesome. And so, you mentioned being sponsored and stuff, and like, how does like a musician get sponsored without going to NAMM? Because when I went there, I think I ran into you and Joe. I was like, Nate Baptist was with me out there. I'm not sure, but I know that we ran into each other backstage at Fiddler's when we were interviewing John 5 and stuff at
yeah,
NAMM.
yeah,
That was a wild time too.
yeah. Personally, I don't really worry about sponsorships, because one of the things about sponsorships is really has to benefit them. I mean, it's a business for them. And if you like being able to say, hey, I was sponsored by so-and-so, that's cool. If it makes you feel better and you get enjoyment out of that, that's cool. But like what I really do when it comes to like music is I still take the same things I learned in motocross and downhill racing is, you're almost better off not having a sponsor if you can afford to do it yourself. And if you can, that way you have all the freedom and choice you have in the world. You can, if it's kind of like if you were rich, you can buy whatever you want. You can play through whatever you want. If you're not, then you play with what you can afford. Now, if you want to play through something that's a little better and they're going to help you get it, well, that's cool. But you also get locked into, if you actually have contracts, you get locked into an endorsement deal. You are, this is what you're using for whatever designated amount of time. And so, yeah, if you don't like it, if you're following the actual agreement, you're not going to be able to change. And, so like when I was racing, I was able to take one of my sponsors, O'Neill, and they sell a Zonic downhill mountain bike gear. When I went into downhill mountain biking, I was able to submit a resume from my motocross stuff and also from what I was doing in downhill, and I got a sponsorship through them, and they treated me really good on that end. I wasn't getting all kinds of stuff for free, but it was stuff I needed, so I got it at a discount. Penny saves, a penny earned. So, on that end, that's how I kind of look at it, is if it saves me money, if, like, let's say you go through a lot of strings or a lot of cables or this, that, and the other, if you go through a lot of stuff, then yeah, a sponsorship that covers those expenses will help you in the long run. But there again, it's the same thing of putting out a resume. Like when you go to NAMM, I told Joe, I said, we're not in the position at NAMM to really get endorsements because we're not a big enough band. We're not full-time touring. We're not on any kind of record label or any kind of thing that's really doing anything. We had a lot of personal success, in the way of like achievements, like getting it on True Hollywood Story and opening for Korn and doing things like that. But it's still not enough to where they're going to go, that they're seeking you out. You know what I mean? That they're going to sit there and go, okay, yeah, let's have you as Digitech or Marshall or Orange or somebody's sponsored artist. Like technically, I'm sponsored on Pick Guy for my guitar picks, my custom guitar picks. If you go to the Pick Guy website, and that's what I look for in a sponsor too, is that I'm getting something out of it. They give me a discount on picks. I don't get them for free, but I get custom picks done cheaper than the average guy. But I also get on that site, on their website, I'm a featured artist. And so if you go to pickguy.com, there's under endorsed artists, I'm one of the endorsed artists. 7 Days Lost with a picture and everything of me, and to me that helps promote my band and promote me and promote my band. And so that was the same thing with Hard Luck Kings. When I first got a sponsorship from them, I hit them up. I was, I saw that they were a newer company, and I got to actually talk to the owner, and talking to him, one of the things there, again, the world's weird how it's connected. They were actually sponsoring some I guess what you call extreme athlete type things. They were sponsoring some X Games kind of guys and stuff like that. And just talking to him and things like that, he was sponsoring a motocross racer and stuff like that. Guy was riding for Team Yamaha at the time, and we were talking about that stuff. And there again, my motocross background and things like that, I had a little more understanding of like some of my sponsorship stuff, responsibilities, I guess. And like he said, when he first started the company, he was giving out guitars right and left to people that he was trying to get it going, And he goes, I wasted a lot of money. He goes, I give guitars to people and they never hear from them again. They wouldn't post pictures of them playing with them. They wouldn't do anything that promoted his guitars, and they were just going out the door. And he was saying he was getting more publicity from his motocross guy and his skateboard guy and stuff like that than he was actual guitar players in the band. And I could relate to that because those guys are familiar, especially the motocross guy. They're familiar with these people pay the bills. And so when you end up on the podium, you make sure you plug them and that you give and that you have their stuff displayed and and stuff like that. So I think if you have an understanding of what they want and what you want, and so on some deals, when you sign something, like when I was doing the downhill mountain biking, I'm locked in on a contract for that season. And so, like, if I didn't like the gear, it wasn't like I could go and just like, oh, you know what, I like Fox gear better, I'm going to switch over to that. Or I like this better, I'm going to, if the company made it handlebars, whatever, I was using their handlebars. I wasn't going to go out and grab something else that went contrary to my contract. And it all worked out because they made good products and we had a good working relationship. But if you take a guitar from somebody who's sponsoring you, you need to promote that guitar. You need to make sure that you generate publicity for it, that you put it on your social media, you put it on your band page, you do these things that they can look and see that they're getting something for their money, because that's what they're doing. They're buying promotion through you. They're giving you a product that come out of their pocket. And if they expect something back. So I think it's just knowing that that's what you're there for. It's not to just say that you're endorsed. It's to actually what's the real function of being endorsed. It sounds good to people because they the big boys that are endorsed are getting not only product, but they're getting paid. And there's different levels where you're getting a discount, where you're getting some free product, and then where you're getting the product plus they're paying you to use the product. So it just depends on where you are up that ladder. And like when we went to NAMM, we're you could talk to different companies, different people, and a lot of them had a generic application there that you could fill out. And a lot of them had that same application on their website. So you could go to their website and try to get endorsed by them and stuff like that. But in the end, it's submitting a resume. It's like when I was on the bike team, all the guys on the bike team, they didn't know how to get sponsors either. We had team sponsors that were sponsored by Vance's Bicycle World. I used to race for him in Pueblo. And we had team sponsors, and then you had individual sponsors, but they didn't know how to go about getting sponsors. So I had a regular resume that I used that was around racing. And so that helped me get other sponsors like Bell Helmets and stuff like that the other guys didn't get. And results is where it counts. It's like say I was in the top 5 in the state for 5-6 years in a row. And I won, a championship and stuff like that. And for Rocky Mountain region for Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, and New Mexico, a 4-state championship and things like that. So when you have results that can back it up, that you can get more. I mean, it kind of, it's just, that's the way it works. I mean, they want, so I think it goes the same way in music. If you have a band that's becoming more successful, you can offset some of your expenses and maybe even make extra income through endorsements. But there again, it's submitting a resume. I'm sure all these companies, like say Fender guitars, they probably get letters written to them by the thousands all the time. People asking, how do I get endorsed, or can I get endorsed? And out of those thousands, there's probably just a few that are really, that makes sense for them to endorse. They may put a program together where they give you a discount and they still make money and you get a discount. So you saved yourself some money. So if it's worth it to you to buy that guitar with that discount and have, and the bragging rights of saying you're endorsed by them, yeah, go ahead and do it. But I think if you can just pay for it yourself, you're better off. Less headaches. Just, I use what I want. And if it comes out of a pawn shop, it works just the same, man. I've been using the same shit that I opened up with Korn for 20, I've been using that for that head ever since before Korn. I'm still using it today. I don't you know, playing in a band is way cheaper than racing motorcycles. I'll tell you that.
Indeed.
Way cheaper.
For sure. And that's why, like when and the people that are in your network too, like not just like corporate people,
Hmm.
like Quan's Kitchen and K
Yeah.
Nails in Pueblo West, like they're my relatives, and so
Nice.
when they give me free food and do my nails, I I get a business card from them and then their menu, and I roll it up in the merch, and then
Hmm.
I put the merch and I give like whatever
Exactly.
they want to get paid. I still give them, the merch and with the menu and the business card in there, so
Hmm.
that way it grows their clientele. And so recently, like I reached out to Liquid Death, the water company, and so they're gonna give us some signage and some swag to give out. And
Nice.
so I'm gonna put their motto, and like we're gonna blend in like the skull from the cans onto
Yeah.
the artwork. So we have that relationship growing. So it's gonna be pretty neat how it's gonna work out. And plus I'm gonna buy some, like you said, like buy some Liquid Death too, and then um and give them money that way too. So it's like that one of those deals that you mentioned earlier. It's like, and then upload the receipt and say, "Hey, I'm supporting you too this way as well."
Yeah.
So
Well, and
whatever they give is awesome.
yeah, that's the thing is, like I say, like the guy from Hard Luck Kings, like he was saying, um, he appreciated that, like I would link them in photos and things like that online, and he wanted to see that. And I had on the Hard Luck Kings website, the original website they used to have, had endorsed artists there, and I had my own entire web page, which was cool. And so on there I'd put upcoming shows, and I'd put it benefited me. It was one more way of getting people out there to know that I had music out. And so on that end, not only was I getting guitars super cheap and some few extras here and there, um, it was benefiting me to help grow the music, but I was helping him grow his brand. And like, you're a spokesman when you become an endorsed artist. You're technically a spokesman for that brand. You're not supposed to go around saying anything negative about it. You're supposed to be positive about it. And that's why, like I say, if you get it and you're disappointed with it, you shouldn't open your mouth, because other sponsors will see that you were shitty with the last sponsor, and they won't sponsor you. You know what I mean? It's like, they on that end, it's good to like say to network that. They're doing it for a reason, and it can become a good partnership. That's what it is. It's like the guy from Hard Luck Kings. When he talked to me about it, we had a partnership, and that's what he described it as. He goes, um, and he wanted to keep it, like, say, let's keep it friendly, let's keep it, this, that, and the other, and he like, say, he gave me a little bit better deal than he gave most people. And I returned the favor by, making sure that I promoted what I was doing with his product. And so, yeah, I mean, I think like, say, you can, especially when you're building like your festival and stuff like that, when you're able to get them to add something that helps draw more people in or promote your festival even better, it works great for both of you. You know what I
Yep,
mean? So you know what you're doing, dude. I mean,
indeed. Capricorns are natural born leaders, I guess. And so I just did some research. I'm like, a lot of these people, like, all my friends are like, "Hey, how can like I get sponsored and stuff?" It's like, what are you gonna give back to the company that's gonna give to you? It's like you just
right.
can't say, "Give me, give me, give me." It's like it's not gonna work that way, But
Yeah. There's a lot. And unfortunately, I think that's what a lot of people, they just, yeah, they don't see that you get it, that's why I say, if you have the money to get whatever you want, don't waste your time with endorsements unless you got a reason for it. You know what I mean? Um, because otherwise, just play what you want, get what you want, and you're not tied down to something, because like, especially when you're on like my level, you're not way up there or anything. You know, you have a better chance of getting a smaller company to endorse you versus a bigger company, because a bigger company is obviously going to have all the bigger name artists. You know what I mean? So their money is going to be put more into bigger name acts. For you to get something at all that resembles what they got, you're going to have to be further down the food chain, because you are further down the food chain.
Oh yeah, and
You
that's
know,
why like free Chinese food and getting your nails done for free is
yeah,
pretty good too. So,
yeah. It's like I used to have an uncle that owned a liquor store in Pueblo, and they sponsored me one time. My they bought me a couple tires for my bike. You know, I don't drink, but I still sponsored their liquor store and promoting it. You know, and listed him as my sponsor, and had a thing on my bike. You know, they gave me money. It helped. It saved me over $100 or so bucks, a couple $100. You know, and like I say, that's the least I could do. I mean, they hooked me up with basically a couple $100. You know.
indeed, and it goes a long way. Like
Hmm.
when I went on tour, I just had $400 and then came home with $40 in my pocket left. I was like,
Yeah.
successful tour right there. So,
Yeah. You didn't come home broke.
no, or in the
or in the
negative.
or in the negative. Yeah, I was gonna say that was a typical 7 days lost tour. Way in the negative. We go out on tour and break down, and you got to keep going. You got to come home at some point. You got to keep going. So you're at the mercy of where you broke down, and that's where the song "Sundown in Kingman, Arizona." We broke down in Kingman so many times,
Oh,
and it was like a zombie apocalypse there. There was just like so many meth heads and things walking around. It was crazy. And then you end up like, say, yeah, they'll fix your vehicle, but it's going to be $1,500 later, you know, and you're like, what's our choice? All right.
right.
And
It's like
so
I feel like Kingman, Arizona is like the Twilight Zone or the Bermuda Triangle for bands. Because like
that's
when
what I always say.
like when the Widowhood Effect and I went on tour and we came back, we got pulled over by a cop,
In
and
Kingwood.
yep, in Kingman, and it was Brandon Benoit's parents that put their names on the van that we rented,
Uh-huh.
and so James was driving, and so the cop got his license and he was in trouble, and so they took him down to the station, and so Brandon jumps and drives, and we go all the way to like the before we went to the police station, like, oh crap, we got our weed, and so they checked all their weed and stuff in the dumpster. They picked up James,
Oh
and then we
yeah.
came back home to Colorado. I was like, we're not stopping anywhere else. We're going straight home. Then we
Oh
got home
yeah.
at like 6 in the morning. It was just like,
Yeah. Oh man. You know what that reminds me too of when we were doing a tour, uh 7 days lost. We were going from Chicago. We were actually going down to Indianapolis just to go watch Wednesday 13. And we end up actually talking our way onto the bill. Danny Rival, the drummer in 7 Days Lost, he had kind of a little bit of a connection or something to one of the guys that was working with the Wednesday 13, and was able to finagle us like, we're here, we got our gear in the van, can we play? And we ended up playing. So we ended up playing a bonus show at Indianapolis, and that was a fun one. We actually hung out on the bus with Wednesday 13 after the show for a couple of hours until we finally went back to our hotel room and shit. But yeah, we got stopped by the DEA going down from Chicago when we were driving to Indianapolis. The DEA pulled us over. DEA agents pulled us over and they searched the vehicle and shit. So, but we were good. We were good.
indeed, for sure.
We kept going down the road.
Indeed. It's like that's all you can do. It's like once you get stopped by the authorities, keep going home, keep going home. Do not stop anywhere.
Yeah.
Get some gas, get some energy drinks, and just go home.
Yeah. I mean, we're not doing nothing wrong. I mean, you find out later that one of the guys that went there to roadie for us, We're lucky they didn't search too hard. It's like, man, dude, don't do that shit.
Right? It's
Yeah.
always the people around you.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you're not helping us if we end up in jail.
Right? Oh man. Shout out to all the rappers and stuff that have like their people with their guns.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like yeah, generally leave the guns home. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I can understand it, It makes sense, but the laws change from state to state, and you don't know what's legal in one state is completely illegal in another state, and it'd be your luck to get pulled over and not be in compliance with the laws there, and then end up in a lot of shit. So, you know, just go play, have fun, try to stay out of trouble, try not to get killed on the road. Driving's bad enough,
It
shit,
is.
you
It's like
know.
check your wagon and check your weed in Kingman, Arizona.
Yeah, it is the devil's triangle of the West. I swear. We broke down there more than once, more than twice. We yeah, it's not good, you
Indeed.
know. Yeah.
Check your weed everywhere else too. It's like, oh geez.
Yeah. We caught
Awesome.
on fire. The SUV we were driving caught on fire in Bakersfield, California. We were
Oh
on our way up to San Francisco to go do a show, and we never made it. We caught the vehicle caught on fire, and we end up having to limp our. We had to actually have fire trucks come out to the highway and make sure that put it out and stuff. And we were lucky it didn't burn to the ground, and we were able to make it back to Bakersfield, but we were stuck there for 2 or 3 more days. We missed 2, 3 shows that were on the tour because we were stuck in Bakersfield trying to get the vehicle running. And we finally got going, and we had such a bad exhaust leak at that point. We're lucky we didn't kill ourselves. Everybody was sick for the most part. A lot of people got sick in the SUV when we got to Kingman, and we stopped at the Pizza Hut that's over there in Kingman off the highway. And yeah, some of the first things people did is get out of the vehicle and start throwing up and stuff. And
man.
it was just one of them things, man. When we limped that thing back to Colorado, we had to, while we were in Kingman, we had to fix that, another problem. Otherwise, how are we going to make it home? We're going to end up dying, carbon monoxide poisoning and stuff. So, but yeah, we were constantly breaking down there, having something go wrong, and they took a lot of our money there.
Yeah.
They stole a lot of our money, man.
I'm gonna avoid, if I ever go on tour again as a storyteller or something, I'm gonna avoid Kingman altogether. I'm not gonna risk it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for this episode, we're raising funds for the American Cancer Society. And why did you pick American Cancer Society to raise funds for on this episode?
I picked that because cancer affects everybody, and I used to do some way back in the day. I actually put together some big events, and like say that were that I did for the American Cancer Society, trying to help out. My dad had cancer, and I was just wanting to do something to help out back then, and in the way of like the overall cause of cancer type thing. And I did some stuff with American Cancer Society of Pueblo. It was unique stuff. They had never done stuff with rock bands and stuff like that. They weren't that, the guy that was the head down there at the time was open to it. He was a younger guy, but everybody else on the board was not so keen on the idea because they're used to selling daffodils and things like that and doing, foo-foo fundraisers, not having a band called Wicked Ways come play and stuff like that. So, but I did the first 1 or 2 at the San Cristo Art Center, and they were like, I worked on that event 6 months at least before it started, and I had enough sponsors. I went around hitting up local businesses to help sponsor the event, that we covered our costs, and we actually were profitable before we ever sold the first ticket. So the first time I was able to do that, and this is back in the early 90s, and I was able to donate a little over $800 to the American Cancer Society, which they were like thrilled with. And then The next year, I was able to do about $1,400 that we donated to him. And the third year, we did I want to say around 1,000 or a little over. We didn't make as much as the year before, but I was kind of done working with them because the people had changed. And not to dog on the American Cancer Society, but it was different people and different personalities there. and I'm not working for you. I'm donating. And it was kind of like they had expectations. And I was like, man, we get what we get. We I'm doing the best I can. Let's not set goals or numbers like I'm working that I got to hit a production number like well, you did this much this year, so you need to hit more this year. Like, no. So I was kind of done with that, but I wanted to donate to them because there's so many people that are affected by cancer. Currently, right now, my mom is in hospice care. She has cancer and stuff. My wife, Raquel, her mom is going in for, I think it's next week. She's going in for surgery for cancer. It affects everybody. It affects almost every family has somebody they know that is affected by cancer. Curtis Pacheco was a friend of mine, one of my best friends in elementary school and stuff like that. Amazing guitar player. In the Pueblo area, Curtis is probably still known as probably one of the best guitar players that was in Pueblo. And Curtis Pacheco passed away. He actually passed away right before I went on my honeymoon. Right when I was getting married to Raquel, and he was kind of cool. Is Curtis? I posted some stuff on Facebook about us getting married, and Curtis posted. What did he post? He posted something like, "You gave her the ring and she gave you the finger." Being a smart. And what's funny about that is, I think Curtis passed away the next day and stuff like that. But Curtis was a good guy. And he obviously had a sense of humor, to the end there and stuff like that. But he had battled different stages and different forms of cancer and stuff like that. And so, like I say, there's a lot of people. John Gerlach, who was like another legend in Pueblo, when it comes to playing and music and stuff like that. It affects everybody. It affects a lot of people and stuff like that. So if we're lucky enough not to get cancer ourselves, unfortunately, somebody we love and know it usually has had to deal with it. I've had, not only my dad, but my uncle pass away from cancer, and my grandma on my mom's side. So it's one of those things. It's had more direct impact on me than any other thing. So when it comes to if I can donate something, it'd be for cancer stuff. So.
For sure. That's a lot of cancer, and it doesn't discriminate; it just goes after everyone.
Oh, it does. And that's the sad thing is you see little kids that get cancer to, older people. Obviously, like I say, I think over time, I think it's kind of just in our body. It's in there dormant, and something kicks it in, and when it does, I don't know if treatment is always the best solution. It's one of those decisions you have to make yourself. My mom chose not do any treatment. And I think it's been the best decision she made. She's lived since they gave her a diagnosis and said that she'd probably, be a few months and pass away. That was, 3.5 years ago, so 3.5 going on 4 years. So 4 years later, and, she's 81 now. So she's not a spring chicken no more.
Indeed.
She can't chase me around the yard no more.
Indeed. It's like, put that guitar away.
Too much noise. Oh, she did that one time. Me and my brother Nick were playing in the backyard late at night in Boone, and they came out of a friend's house that was about a mile and a half, 2 miles away. They could hear playing. They thought there was a party going on. They could hear this guitars and shit. And as they were driving, it was summer. They had the windows rolled down. As they were driving closer to home, and as they got closer to the house, it got louder and louder. And then they realized it was us. And then they floored it. I could hear their car. And we're like, oh shit, there they come. We're putting our shit away. We're in the garage. They come out there and yelled at us. God dang it, I can hear you all the way over there. Sharon's house. She's like 2 miles away almost. Like, sorry. Sound carries a long ways out there.
Indeed, it
Anyway.
does. Awesome, Mike. And so I'm so glad that we got to spend this much time together. It's like it's almost 2 hours. Could you believe it just flew by?
Seriously? Oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I talked too much.
Oh no, the more the better. Because like I love getting all the knowledge from you. Because you've been so like you've done almost everything you ever wanted out of music, and you didn't even put the guitar down, even though your parents asked you to. So you
Yeah.
just kept rocking in the free world, and
Yeah.
look what got you. You know, so that's great.
Oh yeah. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And thank you for putting on the event. I know we've been doing it for quite a while between 7 Days Lost and Hell Circus. And I look forward to it every year. That's why, like I say, when we get to do it, I'm always grateful that we get to do it. If we get, to do it the next year, I'm always appreciative of that. And I appreciate what you do. It's hard work. You do a hell of a job, so thank you.
Thank you, Mike. It means the world to me, and that's why I love having you back every year. And like I remember last year, we went to Bite Me Cake Factory, and we had some sliders at the end of the show. It was like I couldn't get you pizza, but from Little Caesars, but we got you some sliders from Bite Me. So
I always play for food.
Indeed.
I gotta
Same
quit
here.
that.
I love it.
I gotta quit that, man. I'm turning into a Goodyear blimp. I gotta stop. Anyway,
good. I love having you there. I love seeing you. We're going on 10 years. I can't believe it.
Nice. Yeah, it's been a while.
Indeed.
It's been a while. So cool. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, man. It means the world to me, and I'm glad we can all join forces. And thanks to Quan's Kitchen, K Nails, and Spa, and Liquid Death, and all that stuff. And definitely, we love you at Cody at CR23 Bomb Shelter.
Yeah.
Like he came up to me at the Grindhouse last year. It's like, hey, do you want to have this here next year at the Bomb Shelter? I'm like, yes, that'd be awesome. And so we'll have more room to mosh and do Walls of Death and all that good stuff. So it's gonna be rad.
Yeah, Cody's a super cool guy, and I appreciate what he's doing to keep the local music scene alive and stuff like that. It helps out. It's he goes through a lot of BS to do it too. I mean, there's like say I don't think all his neighbors are happy with the band's playing. So it is what it is.
Indeed, we're gonna party no matter what, and that's why I put comedy at the very end, like from 9 to 10, because then we're much quieter, but the laughs are gonna be loud. And even if the comedians bomb, we're covered by a bomb shelter, so we're good.
Yeah, for sure.
So get there from 4 to 10 from July 19th to 21st. Donate whatever you want. There's gonna be a donation station. Give what you can, take what you need, and the world will be a better place. And so bring a jar out for the American Cancer Society if you want to, Mike, and put it on your merch table. So I'll be buying merch with my merch money too. So like I have always done. So and give it out to the fans. But also, any final words you'd like to give out to the audience at home, Mike?
Just go out and support the show. It's gonna be a fun time, and and like say everything you just said there. Make the world a better place. That's a bonus. To everything that getting to play and things like that. And I appreciate the support that people have shown us over the years, being in a band. And there's a lot of times that it's a roller coaster. It's up and downs. It has its up and downs. And it's always nice to have some people help you through the downs and stuff like that. So just come on out and support all the bands and all the different performers, comedians, and everything. And if you haven't been to Sareth Fest, you'll come discover it. It's a special thing. So it's cool, and I'm glad you keep doing it, dude. Just keep on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, and we'll get the Daytona Beach dates coming up too. So I had to start another one here for everyone here in Florida. So
you're a busy guy, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike, for being my guest, and go see Hell Circus and support it. All the links are in the description box below, and click every single one of them, like, subscribe, rate, and donate, and all that good stuff. All right, everyone, take care, be safe, and we'll see each other on the next episode.